change. Change is one of those things that most people don't like. They shy away from. As far as fear it even. Why? Why do people fear change so much? Why can't they understand that everything changes whether you know it or not? For example, excuse me. If you don't change anything ever, and you're the same, and you like things the way they are, everything has its place, everything has its routine. You brush your teeth at 9 in the morning, at 9:10 you're on the train or in the car, whatever. What you don't understand is that you're changing. Because let's face it, every breath you take is not unlike the one you did before. Every day you live is not unlike the one you did before. I mean, they are and they aren't. They're different because it's a new day. Even if it's the same weather, you're wearing the same clothes, you're having the same thoughts, the day is different. So, by default, so are you. Seasons change, unless you're in California. But you remain the same. Even if you buy the same pair of shoes when you wear them out. Like Doug Funny. There was a cartoon character named Doug Funny, always wore the same outfit. One time they showed his closet and he just had 8 of them. People do that. There's people with obsessive compulsive disorder that have to close the door 3 times before they come in the house. As a superstition. Almost. An obsessive superstition. But you don't realize that when you do not change, you change for the worse. Because little do you know, you become stagnant. Stagnant is like when water sits and gets infested with bacteria. Water that is not running. Water that is not changing. It changes for the worse. It becomes rotten, poisonous. And for you to drink that water, and you can, not drink it, but you can still get hydrated. You might have to change your intake or reverse it. But that's for another day. What I'm trying to say is changing is a way of checking, controlling yourself. Because if you're not controlling your change, then by default, change is controlling you. If no one, let's put this in a manner that people from the restaurant industry, or perhaps any industry, can understand. If I'm working in a restaurant and I have to taste the mac and cheese every day, make sure it's got enough salt, make sure it's not enough Gruyere cheese or stinky cheese, make sure it's got that grittiness of the Parmesan, make sure that the crust on top, made out of panko, oregano, and seasoned salt, garlic, and pepper, is just brown enough, crusty enough. Make sure that the cook remembers to throw a handful of cheese in before he serves it so that it has that stringiness. But one day the scale was broken and the cook was new and he did not know how to eye the right amount of Parmesan cheese. So it's a little grittier than normal. But I overlook it because it's the same. And so it goes. That cook becomes seasoned, teaches a new one. And then the corporate manager comes in, tastes the mac and cheese and says, "This is way too gritty. How much Parmesan are you putting in this?" And because little by little it slipped every day, I don't notice the difference because I have been tasting it every day. But the corporate chef who hasn't been there in months, it's night and day to them because they know what it's supposed to taste like and they haven't tasted it in a couple of months, right? You become stagnant. You become sloppy, unless you have OCD. Most people don't, though. So you become sloppy. You become lazy. And you're so used to set in your ways because it's convenient and easy that you stop being attentive to adapt. to change. Which is why if your electricity goes out, you don't know what the fuck to do. You sit there and you go to the supermarket and you take all the toilet paper and buy the broccoli, It's funny, but it's not. Because people that are used to watching TV every single day are used to relaxing and letting that be their escape, which is when their minds are at the most vulnerable stage because there's no defenses up. They're in their home, they're relaxed, they're chilling, watching TV. What they have to realize is that's when the TV can say whatever it wants during your mind's most vulnerable stage, and you will accept it. Maybe not the first day, maybe not even the second, but after the third year of it, that's just all going to be all that you know. And you're not going to want to hear anything from anyone else because that's what you know. And you don't remember how you know this. You don't remember where you learned this notion that you have about the red or the blue or the black or the white. You just know that that's how you feel, period. And I don't like change. So I like things the way they are. Let me ask you something. Were they always this way? Or was there a time before you had this job, before you were watching TV? And the answer is obviously yes, but how long ago was that? Because to get to where you are right now, you have changed from where you were before. Even if you have to go as far back as being a child. You have changed so much that you won't accept new things. It doesn't matter whether you're 36, 17, or 75. You should change something every single day. Do something different. Be a different person. Whether it's release all inhibitions and just do whatever the fuck you want. I want to get drunk, get drunk. Don't do anything bad. Don't go raping and killing people. Stealing shit, Don't do that. And if you normally do that, maybe change not to do that. Brush your teeth lefty or righty. Don't brush your teeth if you don't feel like it for a day. Who gives a fuck? I want to eat. I want to drink. Change it up. And if you're used to doing that and do whatever the fuck I want whenever I want, then spend a day where you don't. Make yourself a regime, a schedule, like the ones people I started talking about. There's fewer of the latter, many, many of the former. There was a photographer that stood on the corner of New York Street. I think it was 3 or 4 different corners. And he took pictures. I think it was timed. And he would put a timestamp on every picture he took. And the results he had were astonishing because not only would it be the same person on the same block with the same clothes and the same coffee, literally, it would be so rhythmical that the person would get pissed off at the same crosswalk at the same exact second because it didn't turned red right before him. Now, this person was just on 4 corners of Manhattan at certain times a day. Imagine how many times that happens around the world. And imagine how many people know that it happens. And now imagine how many people don't. And now if you're a person that knows the pattern of a human being, which is pretty easy to predict, I probably could predict yours without even knowing you. Depending upon what time of day you're watching this and your name. That's it. And why do I need to know your name? I don't know. You talk to yourself. You should start. And you should start answering yourself because it's rude not to answer someone that's talking to you. Say there's multiple personality disorder, schizophrenia. Listen, you know if you have schizophrenia. Actually, technically you don't, but you know what I mean. People would have told you by now. If a human being solves problems, makes decisions, difficult decisions, in this way that I'm about to explain. You create a personality for every outcome of the decision. So, should I move to California? I keep talking about it because I love it. But it's far away from my kid. It's far away from everything I love because I love New York, because of leaves and shit, whatever it is. Yes, no, maybe, and why, and however many reasons you have, pros and cons, you create a personality for every one of those things. And then you literally kill them one by one. They die because they don't survive because Too far away from my kid, I can't, dead. So the too far away from my kid, one that's not going to go, still alive. And you literally do that with every thought you make, more or less. Like that's the layman's terms, but pretty much. So like there was a movie with John Cusack when he was the split personality guy, and they were killing each other at this motel. And at the end, the little girl lived, or the little kid lived. It was like the craziest killer of them all, of course. He's the smartest one. So the smartest decision for you is always the one that lives, even if it's the wrong decision, because you don't know what happens in the future. What you have to understand is that the reason you're creating these personalities is because they're not just your imagination. They're actual people who exist just because you thought of them. When I say manifesting reality, physically or not, it doesn't really matter. Because if you think about it, and it happens, it's real. And if you think about it and it doesn't happen, it does not mean that it's not real. It just means that you didn't see it. If you think about anything, it's true somewhere out there, period. I can fly. Yeah, I know. You can. Just not on this planet. If you have a dream of flying, is that you not flying? Of course it is. You're flying in your dream. Period. You're flying. Does everyone else, are you going to make the news? Probably not. Because no one will see you flying. They'll see you in your bed sleeping. But it doesn't mean that it is not happening. Do you understand? Like, if you see someone die in front of you in real life, you get a glimpse of that. And that everything is real. No matter what. It's a terrible way to get that glimpse, but still, you get a glimpse. Because when you see a dead body versus a live body pretending to be dead, there's a certain energy, or lack thereof, I guess, around it. For most people, it's the lack of movement when they're breathing. See, we don't even realize that we know what a human being looks like alive because we can tell that their abdomen is moving a little bit. You know what I mean? Like when they put their ear to the person's mouth, that's all bullshit. That's to see if they're like barely breathing. But if you've ever been to a wake, or a funeral, or a battlefield, or anywhere you can see a dead person, morgue, or before the morgue. A wake is a good one because a lot of people have seen those. And the person's already dolled up to look like he's alive because they put makeup on him, or her. But there's just something weird about it, especially if it's someone you know. You know? Grandma's laying there so peaceful. Yeah, peaceful because she's not fucking breathing. So, if you have a memory of her right then and there, her laughing, the fact that you had that memory means that she exists still, laughing, just not here. She exists in your mind. Is your mind not important enough? Of course it is. You're the only thing that matters to you. I'm the only thing that matters to me in the end. Because how can my kid live if I'm not there to feed her? Does my kid even exist? Do I exist? Are you hearing me right now, or are you hearing yourself? Are you pretending me? I'm not that crazy of a human being, and I'm not saying words that are too complicated for anyone to understand or invent themselves. This is not coming to me from knowledge. I'm just talking into my phone, just like you're listening into yours. So change, my friends, is something important. Because the second you realize that you haven't changed and you like things the way they are because they are the way they are, you are taking a step backwards from that peak that you were just at a minute ago when I was talking to you.